G'day all saints. It's been a while since I've shot one of these, but I wanted to take a few minutes to update you on a couple of important things. So whether you're at All Saints City St John's or North Barney's or Georgetown St Mary's Magdalene or Southeast, thanks for being a part of our network of churches as we seek to live life well together in Jesus. We are better together, and I'm looking forward to what 2022 will hold. This video isn't about that. This video has two things that I want to update you on. The first is the Will Graham Launceston Celebration event. It's launching on Friday the 19th of November at Door of Hope. That's right, we're having a launch event that will kick off our lead in to the Launceston Celebration that will happen in May 2022, when, God willing, Will Graham's grandson of Billy Graham will come and share the gospel of Jesus. And my hope and prayer is that many people might come to put their faith and trust in Jesus for the first time. There's a great video that I'm going to link in our community news that will just highlight some of the moments through Launceston's history where evangelists and international speakers have been used by God in key moments to catalyse movement for mission and ministry in Launceston. And I think this could be one of those moments. There's something about churches working together that I think shifts a spiritual climate in a city. And already more than 35 churches in Launceston have pledged to work together through this event and indeed beyond it. And that includes the All Saints Network. So on Friday the 19th, we will have our launch. Our own Bishop, Richard Connie, will be there. It's going to be a great event of worship, prayer. Will Graham will join us via video link, and a real celebration and also a declaration in faith of what we hope and trust that God might do in this time. We've always said along the way that this celebration isn't really at about a couple of nights in May. It's actually about a journey. Sounds cliche, you hear it all the time, but I really believe it. In fact, there'll be so much training and preparation going into this that my hope is that many people in the All Saints Network, and indeed across Launceston, will be trained in disciple making, trained in evangelism, how to share your faith, and those skills and that knowledge, and hopefully that energy and synergy of doing something together will flow on far beyond the May event. Also, as churches working together, we're partnering with City Mission to invest in a youth at risk shelter, and we'll be donating a large amount of money that's part of our budget for that ministry that will kick on long after Will Graham has left Tasmania. So there's a couple of things you need to know. Firstly, 19th, be great if you could be there. It's going to be a really good event. Already many people from many churches are gathering together each month to pray for this event. It's being bathed in prayer. The second thing is the financial side of it. So the Billy Graham Association is contributing hundreds of thousands of dollars to make this happen. We've also, as the churches of Launceston, pledged and are working to see us as churches give around about $180,000. I think that's right. And at All Saints, we are not going to come to you week after week and ask for you to give to the Will Graham Launceston Celebration. What we want to do is a one-off. And so what I'm hoping is that over the next week, from this Sunday the 14th through to Sunday the 21st, that you might pray about whether or not you might give a one-off donation to the Launceston Celebration. We won't come back to you in December or in January or in April. This is it. And we're doing it at the start when you're perhaps less enthused and less motivated to do it. Why? Because I think it's a really good opportunity to invest in something at the beginning. What I'd hope and what I'm asking is that you might prayerfully consider what that amount might be. It could be $5, it could be $10, it could be $100, it could be $1,000. Know that that money will go to this work with City Mission and will be invested directly into something that we hope will have great eternal kingdom impact. So you can give from this Sunday through to the following Sunday over 1 week. You can do that by putting some cash in an envelope and just writing on it, Will Graham or Launceston Celebration. Or you can make an additional giving event online. Many of us give online. You can do that again and do a specific online donation. Let us know that it's for the Will Graham event. Every church will be doing that. It's extra. It's not part of our budget. And I don't want you to do it out of your regular giving to God's work here at All Saints or the things that you're already committed to. But do pray about it. And let's just see what we might be able to do in terms of our part to play financially. So that's the Will Graham celebration and the launch event on Friday the 19th. Come along if you're skeptical. Come along if you're excited. Come along even if you've got something you'd rather be doing. Come along if you've got nothing to do. But come along and see for yourself the churches of Launceston coming together, working together for the sake of God's kingdom. The second thing I want to talk to you about is our giving in general. I don't talk a lot about money and giving at All Saints. It's not on purpose, it's not necessarily by design, and I just want to apologize for that because it is part of our discipleship. And you may not know this, but in our newcomers lunches, when people come into the All Saints network and they're finding out about it, whichever church they've been a part of or they've visited, we run through some expectations regarding what people in the All Saints network, what you can expect of us, expect of me as the lead minister, expect of the equiper team, expect of the church. And also we share some of what we expect of people. For example, we expect people who call one of our churches in the All Saints network their spiritual home. We expect them to be involved in some way, that they have a part to play. We expect people who know and love Jesus to be reading the Bible and getting to know Jesus more and more. That as we equip you in your spiritual growth, that you still take responsibility for it. One of the expectations that we have is around giving, around finances. And there's some basic principles that we operate on that I thought would be good to share. Firstly, we don't expect people to give beyond their means. So if you're somebody that's struggling financially, actually you should be coming to us and letting us know how we can help you. We don't expect you to give to God's work. You might choose to, and there's many examples throughout history of people that have done that, but it's not an expectation. If you're under financial pressure, under hardship, we want to be a blessing. We don't want you to feel like you need to be giving to God's work financially in that moment. We also don't expect you to give if you're not a follower of Jesus. So if you're coming along to church and you're not sure who Jesus is, and you're not sure if you are a Christian, you don't know if you'd call yourself a disciple of Jesus, then we don't want you to give to that work, to God's work here in All Saints. What we want you to do more than anything is to find out who Jesus is. But for those of you who do know who Jesus is, received new life or made a new creation, are disciples, then you know that, like I know, that everything that we have belongs to him. And he asks us for our very lives. And one of the ways that we express that is through the specific giving of our finances to God's work in the church that we call our spiritual home. And I'm so grateful for the many people that give generously to God's work here at All Saints. Now, we certainly encourage generosity across the board, and I hope that you're giving in other contexts too. Maybe you sponsor a child, maybe you give to a mission organisation, and that's fantastic. I also hope and pray that you'll be giving to God's work in All Saints. If you don't give in the All Saints Network, let me encourage you to really consider what it might look like to give something. So just start a regular habit of giving something to God through His church. I think one of the hardest things about giving is starting. I remember when Karen and I, before we were even dating, as good friends, we were at a conference once, and we were convicted individually that we weren't generous with our finances, and that our finances and our holding on to our money reflected in some way our refusal to submit to God's good work in our lives. And so we actually wrote up a covenant of giving that we held each other accountable to. It became much easier to keep once we were married. But the purpose of that was just to get us started. We recognized we needed help and we needed some accountability there. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do that, but I do know that starting to give is often the first hurdle. Let me encourage you to try it and see, understanding that it's part of our discipleship. It reflects the fact that all that we have belongs to Him. And I want to take the moment to talk about it now, because at our annual meeting, we committed to a level of giving that was an increase upon what we'd given previously. We actually passed a deficit budget, trusting and believing that this is what God is calling us to do in terms of ministry. And this is the money required to do it. I wanted to let you know that in terms of our collections, we're tracking to end up approximately $55,000 short of what we budgeted for collections for giving. That sounds like a huge amount. It's actually not a huge amount in the context of our weekly and monthly giving. And that's why I wanted to talk about it now. While it's not urgent, there may be a time where I come to you and say, we really need people to dig deep. I hope that's not the case. And if we look at the number of people in the network and our capacity, I think we can well meet that budget without relying on a few individuals to dig deeper. So let me encourage you to think about what you give. I'm asking you to do that now in November. People are always thinking about Christmas, and maybe you've already started spending it for Christmas. But we have a practice, Karen and I, of evaluating our giving in January. And I'm suggesting now in November, why don't you, if nothing else, commit to look at your giving in January and bring it before the Lord and say, okay, Lord, how do you want me to give? Is there a way that you may be able to give more to God's work here in the All Saints Network? And I want you to know that we're in it together, that there are many individuals and couples and families and kids that give financially to God's work. So thank you for that. Let me ask you to commit it to God in prayer, and let's see what happens. And I'm actually coming to you and letting you know this, having just had our best giving month this financial year in October. We met our budget, and I'm hoping and praying that we might keep that going, that we might be able to resource and fund the work that we truly believe God has called us to do. And at the heart of that is equipping you in your discipleship and in your following of Christ. So thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for listening to those two things. Take them to God in prayer. Friday the 19th, Will Graham Celebration. Maybe you can come on the 19th. Maybe there's a way in which you can give something to that. We're only doing it for 1 week, 14th to the 21st. And perhaps consider it prayerfully what it looks like to give to God's work here at All Saints if you're not yet. And if you are, whether you have any capacity to trust God in giving more. And you may not, and that's okay. Please don't mishear me. I do know that sometimes we need a prompt to review our giving and to bring it before the Lord and to trust Him with it. So thanks again. Hope to see many of you over the lead up to Christmas. Hoping to get out to some of the other churches. So looking to you North, looking to you Georgetown. Love to see some of your faces soon. God bless, and keep being salt and light. Keep loving God and loving the community as we live life well together in Jesus.